Welcome into One of One Sports, the only one for your original sports commentary and analysis. I'm John Barry, and it is time for another college football preview and prediction. Let's get into it. Before we get started, if you guys are enjoying the content on the channel, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. I'm trying to hit 300 subscribers before the end of the college football season. But as you can probably tell, I'm running out of time and I need your guys' help to get there. Any support is greatly appreciated. With that being said, let's get started. Last week's predictions went 4-1, a pretty good week. We correctly picked Oklahoma to beat Missouri, SMU to beat Louisville, Oregon to beat USC, and BYU to beat Cincinnati. Unfortunately, we did predict Georgia Tech to beat Pittsburgh, which obviously I missed the mark on. But this week, after improving to 45-29, we are giving out what I believe is a season-high 8 picks. We have 4 in-depth game breakdowns like I usually do, but we have 4 quicker picks just because it's rivalry weekend. It's a special event. I want to talk about a lot of these games, and obviously if I did 8 big game breakdowns, it would be a video that's probably a bit too long. So let's get started with the shorter ones. First up, Georgia versus Georgia Tech. They're playing in a neutral site, but in Atlanta. Obviously, both teams from Georgia, not a big home field advantage either way. And I think it's interesting to view this game from different angles because on one hand, people are penciling Georgia into the playoff. They're already saying they're good to go. Kind of looking past Georgia Tech, they're saying, okay, the question is Georgia going to be in the SEC championship game? Probably not. So are they going to get a bye or are they going to be the 5 seed, right? That's kind of the talking points around Georgia. Meanwhile, Georgia Tech, it's like, you got blasted by Pitt. Your season's done. What a disappointing way to go out. That's kind of what we're looking at with these two teams. And I just want to say this. If Georgia Tech somehow beats Georgia, just stay with me here. If Georgia Tech beats Georgia, both teams 10-2, Georgia Tech has home field advantage. Not home field advantage. Georgia Tech has head-to-head advantage with a win to end the season. And based off what the committee has shown in every scenario except Notre Dame, Miami, Georgia Tech would now be ranked above Georgia. Like, Georgia would fall really far in these rankings. And if you're looking at all the teams that could be looking to get it, so Georgia, we assume if they 10-2, Alabama's 10-2. I think that's the reasonable place to assume they would drop below Alabama. And then we're looking at, okay, is 11-1 BYU going to be ahead? If Michigan wins, we'll talk about that later. Are they ahead? Vanderbilt, right? There's all these scenarios where I truly think, and although everyone's saying Georgia's already in, I could easily see them being out of the full playoff picture if they lose this game. And Georgia Tech, could they potentially backdoor their way in if they beat Georgia? No, that one I cannot see happening. Even if Georgia Tech beats Georgia, I just don't think there's going to be enough. There's too many teams for them to have to leap over for them to get all the way in. So who am I picking? It's got to be Georgia, right? I mean, Georgia Tech, we just saw them play Pitt. Georgia, I think we all agree, is a lot better than Pitt. This Georgia Tech defense has just been abysmal down the stretch of the season, and Georgia has been playing their best football to end the season. They look like they're peaking at the right time. I just hope it's as good as a game as it was last year, all those overtimes, though I doubt it will be. I think Georgia wins this one big. Second, the Territorial Cup, the rivalry for my home state of Arizona. And we have the Wildcats traveling to Tempe to take on the Sun Devils, where they are actually a slight favorite. ASU probably going to be ranked again by the committee this week, I would assume. Arizona has an outside shot as well. This is the first year in a while that both these teams have been good at the same time, because recently there have been some blowouts. You look last year, ASU crushed Arizona, was a far better team. But you go back 2 years before that, and Arizona crushed ASU. You just keep going back. It seems like every year one of these teams is down, one of them is up, or some scenarios they're both down. But for the first time in a while, since I can remember really, and I've been a fan of Arizona sports, both teams are good at the same time. And I think that makes for a very fun atmosphere. I might go to this game, heavily considering it. And I think U of A is going to win. I think Noah Fafita is just playing at such a high level to end his career. Gonna go out strong winning this game. And while Jeff Sims has made some plays at times for the Sun Devils, and Jordan Tyson's got healthy now, which helps, he's too turnover prone. He's too reliant on the run game. He can't make enough passes through the air. And I think Arizona's run defense is going to be good enough where if ASU is going to win this game, Jeff Sims is going to have to make plays with his arms. I don't think he's going to be able to do that, especially when you consider how good this Arizona defense is at forcing turnovers. I think they win the turnover battle. I think they win the game. Give me the Wildcats. Not big, but in a close victory, I will take the Wildcats. And now moving on to Miami at Pitt. And this is a game potentially with some serious ACC playoff implications. Now, I say potentially because if SMU wins, if Virginia wins, then this game doesn't matter. And Miami maybe has hope as an at-large bid, but probably not the way things are shaping out, right? So if those teams win, it's kind of what's void, I guess you would say. But if one of those teams falters, then things could get crazy because Pitt could win, and they only have the loss to I'm blanking on the name of the team, but they lost Notre Dame, they lost West Virginia, but I'm forgetting who they lost to in ACC play. Someone will probably remind me in the comments, I hope. But either way, they have one loss, so if they win this game, they're going to be right there in the mix. And then if Miami wins this game, now you got 2-loss Miami, 2-loss Pitt, potentially 2-loss Virginia, or 2-loss SMU, with a 2-loss Georgia Tech, with a 2-loss Duke potentially. You have 6 teams still, while the ACC is guiding through tiebreakers, deciding who's going to go to, Charlotte. Who's going to go to Charlotte. And then into the actual on-the-field play, like, I'm nervous for Miami, in large part due to the weather, because this is a South Florida team traveling to Pittsburgh in late November, and it is going to be, by all estimations, below freezing at kickoff, which, yeah, I don't think is a great recipe for Miami. It seems like could be sort of an ugly game, and the Miami players are uncomfortable, and then you could see how things could play out for Pitt winning. And not to mention, we've seen Miami at the end of seasons under Mario Cristobal not play their best. All we need to do is go back to last year, to the Syracuse game where they blew a chance to go to the ACC title. They ruined their playoff chances. It all collapsed in the last game of the season. Could we get a little deja vu here? We absolutely could. I mean, it seems like Pat Narduzzi was seriously just not taking Notre Dame seriously, didn't care about that, and somehow put all his effort into ACC play, because Pitt just looked miles better against Georgia Tech than they did against Notre Dame. Now, is Georgia Tech worse than Notre Dame? Yeah, probably, but the difference was truly drastic. Now, the question is Miami closer to Notre Dame or to Georgia Tech? And despite what people will tell you, Miami is actually very comparable to Notre Dame. So comparable, in fact, I would say about 3 points better is what I would say Miami had been early in the season, and is still quite a good team. That's in jest, of course, to the people who make these arguments of, I saw Joel Klatt say, you put on the tape, Notre Dame is just better than Miami. Well, I have 60 minutes of tape that says otherwise, but I digress, and I think Miami is a great team. I think Pitt's a good team, and I know it's cold. I know the history of Mario Cristobal. I know all those circumstances, but on the field, I don't see why Pitt should beat Miami. Carson Beck, as long as he doesn't turn the ball over, which I admit he can do, but it's not something I'm going to predict him to do. Like, when it gets bad for him. But I think he's been playing well. He keeps playing well. The receivers are better. Malachi Toney is excellent. The pass rush is great with Ruben Bain and Mesidor. The O-line is really strong and should be able to hold up against Pitt's defensive front. Give me Miami in style, trying to make a point to get in to that last, playoff spot, impress the committee with a bit of style points here. I think they do it. Yeah, give me the Canes. And then finally, Oregon traveling to Washington. I don't like this at all. The reason is I feel like people have just written off Washington because of the Wisconsin loss. But the Wisconsin loss, you were in this rainstorm. It's a weird game. Wisconsin's leading passer was the punter. And yes, they managed to pull the upset. But that game was not representative of what Washington is as a team. That was a weird game where neither team could do anything offensively, mainly due to weather and conditions, and it put it in a very specific spot which favored Washington. That's probably not what we're going to have on Saturday. And now Oregon traveling into Husky Stadium, arguably the greatest home field advantage of all of college football. The winning streak's broken because Ohio State went in there and won that game. Well, guess what? That's Ohio State. That team is amazing. They did something no one had done in over, I think, 30 attempts. It may have been high 20s, low 30s, something like that, right? Washington, for the most part, doesn't lose at home, and Oregon knows that because they've been there in this spot multiple times in recent years, and it's ended the same way. They lose this game a lot, and just across the board, like, where does Oregon know they have advantages? Because I believe in Dante Moore a ton. I don't know that he's going to be better than DeMond Williams. I don't know that their run game, for as good as Noah Whittington and Davis are. Like, Jonah Coleman leads the Big Ten in touchdowns still. I hadn't checked that. Recently, like, last time I checked, he was still leading it. I assume he still is. I don't know if Oregon's receivers are going to be healthy. Denzel Boston easily could be the best receiver in this game. So I just say all this to say Washington has the high-end talent, high-end potential to play with a team like Oregon, to beat a team like Oregon. But at the end of the day, I can't quit the Ducks. This is still my national title pick. I still believe in Dante Moore to be the best quarterback in the country. And am I holding on to preseason predictions? A little bit. Yes, I admit that. But hey, I've held on to them this long. I'm not giving up now. So though I don't like the spot at all, I think the Ducks are on huge upset alert. I'm not going to go all the way there because it would kind of ruin my year-long prediction of what the Ducks could do and what they will end up doing. So I'll give the Ducks slight edge. I think like walk-off field goal, super competitive game, awesome addition to this rivalry, but I will slightly lean Oregon. And with that being said, that wraps up the quicker picks of the episode. Let's get into some game breakdowns. And we start with the game. Where else can we start? It's the biggest rivalry in all of college football. It is the game I wait all year, every year to see, and recently it has not disappointed. I mean, last year it was the game of the year by my estimations. A little bit biased as someone who roots for Michigan, but by far the biggest, most major, high-profile upset we saw all year. And then the years before, it was always Big Ten title on the line, playoff on the line, that kind of thing, whether it be the C.J. Stroud or the Kyle McCord teams that lost to those J.J. McCarthy, Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards teams. We get Cornelius Johnson, big plays. These games have been absolutely awesome. I expect just as much from this game, and the stakes are once again huge, which leads us into our keys to the game. And number one, who's going to feel the pressure? Because it's not who you would expect. Though Michigan is the team that already has 2 losses, that is fighting for their playoff lives, and Ohio State is the defending national champion who's locked into the playoff, probably locked in to a bye in the playoff. The pressure is still all on Ohio State. It's all on Ryan Day. If you lose this game, you will not hear the end of it. And it doesn't matter if they go on again to make the playoff, win the national championship, because there will always be in the back of the mind, you can't win the game that matters most. You can't beat Michigan, which, yes, national title, it's not like you'll get fired or anything. They'll celebrate, but it will still haunt them the way it haunts Jack Sawyer to not have gold pants, the way it haunts JT Tuimoloau to not have gold pants. These guys, you can't handle losing this game 5 years in a row with the team you have. So the pressure is all going to be on Ohio State. The question is, are they going to feel it? Because last year, I think they felt that pressure to win the game. And even though if they had just played anywhere close to their regular game, they beat Michigan easily. Instead, they play some random, weird style they've never played before, run like super conservative. The only way they could lose, they managed to play that way, and I think that was a product, I'm looking for something, of the pressure Ryan Day and staff felt. They're talking like they're going to, just do what they do, not they overthink it. And if that's the case, they probably will perform better than they did last year, but I can't just take them at their word for it. I got to see it. And then key number 2, Underwood, his legs and his decision making. I think Bryce Underwood has been playing some of his best football to end the year, but it's been a roller coaster, right? The decision making at times has been questionable. Look no further than the 2 interceptions he made against Northwestern. So I don't want him to throw the ball too much. I don't want too much to be in his hands, but he still needs to make a major impact, which is why I think his running in read options, in scrambles, is going to be so crucial. They need him to make plays. Not sure you trust to do it with his arm all the time, so he needs to do it on the ground. If he can do that and supplement a run game, which should have Jordan Marshall back, and Kuzdal looked really good last week, then you can pound, and occasionally, Bryce Underwood pops one. And then now we open the pass game, and we see Donovan McCulley. We see Andrew Marsh, who's emerged as maybe the best wide receiver Michigan has had since I don't even know, since I started watching, really. He's been incredible the back half of this year as a true freshman. Now we see them make plays, and now we get a full offensive performance, something along the lines of what we saw against Maryland. And you're going to need to do all this because Ohio State is the best defense in college football. I don't care what metric you want to use. You can use points. You can use yards. You can use stop rate. Whatever you want to do, it's Ohio State. And Michigan's offense is not the best in college football, so they are going to need to play to their maximum potential to win this game, right? They need to get A++ performance, and I think that definitely involves Bryce Underwood doing damage on the ground. And finally, key number 3, for me, seeing is believing, and that is why I'm going out on a limb here. Give me Michigan to win this game. And don't tell me that it can't happen. Don't tell me I'm crazy, because however you think however big you think the gap between Ohio State and Michigan is this year, number 1, number 18, I guarantee you it was bigger last year. Michigan went in to Columbus last year with a quarterback who couldn't really complete a forward pass, and what did they do? They beat them 13-10. All the things happened once again, and I wouldn't pick James Franklin to go beat Ohio State. I'm not picking Ryan Day to go beat Michigan. They're going to do it once again. Michigan wins this game 5 in a row, baby. Now, I'm sure you guys will all agree with that pick, and I will get no pushback whatsoever from the numerous Ohio State fans that are out there. But, you know, it is what it is. We'll see how it goes on Saturday, because if I'd made this pick last year, all the same things would have been said. You're crazy. You're a homer. You're clickbait. All of it would have been said, and you know what? You would have all been wrong because you lost. But anyways, Texas A&M takes on Texas, so let's talk about that. This game, really, really big for the second year in a row. This second time the rivalry's been back. The first time I'd ever seen the rivalry was last year, as I was too young to see it in the Big 12. So I looked forward to it a lot last year, heard a lot of the stories, and, you know, it was really cool to see, but the game wasn't great, so hopefully we get a better product this year. And keys to the game. Look, where did Texas's defense go? I mean, for the first half of this year, we were talking about it. Is it top 5 defense, top 10, certainly top 15? And now they're just getting gashed left and right. You look at Mississippi State, you look at Vanderbilt, you look at Georgia, all 30-plus points. I don't know. This Texas defense is very good. That could be a problem. Second, elite pass rushers are on this team, whether you look at Howell or Simmons. A&M number 1 sack rate team in the country. So Arch Manning, Marcel Reed, both going to be under duress all day, which can make better decisions, because for Marcel Reed's in the Heisman conversation, Arch Manning, people have acted like he's terrible all year. Both can be prone to making great plays or turning the ball over. That's going to be critical, as it always is, but more so than ever when you're facing pass rushers, the likes of which these teams have. And finally, key number 3, the SEC title and the playoff impact this game has is massive. A&M is not a lock to go to Atlanta. They have to win this game. Otherwise, we could see Georgia. We could see Bama, right? A&M, you really need to win this. And of course, not only are you going to be motivated because it's Texas, because you have something to prove, but also you want that bye. You want the top overall seat. So major motivation for them. And then, of course, Texas, all the same things. It's your rival, but also you were above Michigan. So if Michigan has hope to make the playoffs, certainly Texas is still going to have hope. Try to send a statement. So we get 2 teams, maximum motivation against their rival, all the emotions in the world. Who do I have winning? Give me Texas A&M, because you're asking me, do I believe in Texas to do something they haven't done all year, which is against elite competition, put together a complete performance. We haven't seen that at all. Why would I believe in that? Sometimes the offense is good. Sometimes the defense is good. Sometimes they're all good in the first half. They're bad in the second half. They're too inconsistent, at least in my opinion, to pick them to win a game like this. I know you're at home, but look, A&M has been backs against the wall. They've been down 27-1. They've been down at the half to LSU and 1. They've come on the road to Missouri, a game I thought would be tight. They've crushed them. Every time I've doubted them, they've responded. I think they beat Texas. I think they beat Texas convincingly, at least a 10-point win for the Aggies, securing a perfect regular season and a trip to the SEC title game. Texas finishes 8-4 with disappointment and major questions moving forward. Right, we move on to Vanderbilt at Tennessee, and this game has the makings of a potential shootout. That is key number 1. We are looking at 2 top 10 offenses. Tennessee number 7 and Vanderbilt number 8 in points per game. They're also elite yards offenses, if you like that statistic. Tennessee top 5 passing yards in the country, right? So we should see a lot of points, a lot of yards, and look, that should make it a really fun game. And it is interesting to see where these teams get their yards, because like I said, Tennessee, heavy passing attack. And why that is interesting is because Vanderbilt is the number 1, or I guess it's weird how you want to say it. Teams pass the ball more against Vanderbilt than they do against any other team, if that makes sense. So you're more likely on a per play basis to be passing against Vanderbilt than any other team in the country. And of course, when you have a passing attack as good as Tennessee, that could lead to, showing some holes in that Vanderbilt secondary, which gets thrown on a bunch. So I think that's just interesting to note. Key number 2, the Heisman and the playoff hopes of Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt are going to be front and center. Diego Pavia already told us he's going to be in New York. You have tons of people backing Vanderbilt to make the playoff, and even I and other people who don't like some of the SEC media machine that spreads these narratives, even we, for the most part, want to see Vanderbilt in the playoff, because that would just be so fun. Diego Pavia is just so fun. I want to see him in New York. I want to see him have another great performance. He's broken his individual passing record the past 3 weeks, broke the Vanderbilt record last week. I'm expecting more big things in this final game of his, I guess, regular season career, because we'll see him in a bowl game, maybe the playoff, who knows. And then key number 3, I think, is the Tennessee pass rush, because when we get into these shootouts, you look for the little things, what could be the difference, and you're always looking at turnovers, special teams, and, I don't see a major special teams edge for either, but the turnovers can always be caused by a pass rush, and Tennessee's pass rush is just leagues better than Vanderbilt's is. So Diego Pavia is going to be under much more pressure than Joey Aguilar, which you would think means he's more prone to making a mistake in this spot than Aguilar is. But I disagree. Diego Pavia in his final game is going to be magical. All the Pavia magic going to be on display, evading pass rushers, extending plays, scoring touchdowns. Joey Aguilar will be the one to make the key mistake. And Vanderbilt, yes, Vanderbilt will finish with 10 wins in the regular season. They will beat their rival, the Tennessee Volunteers, and they will be banging on the door of the selection committee to be let into the college football playoff. Will they? We'll have to wait and see, but they're going to get this win. Book it. Finally, we conclude with the Iron Bowl. Alabama travels to Jordan-Hare to take on the Auburn Tigers. Key to the game, number 1, this is just a huge swing game. The range of outcomes in college football changes no more than it does based on the result of this game. And that is because Alabama can fall all the way out of the playoff with a loss. We all know that. They're in with a win, but not only are they in, they travel to Atlanta to go to the SEC title game. And then what happens if they beat Texas A&M or beat Georgia? They skyrocket up. So the whole seeding changes based on what happens in this game. It is absolutely huge. But on the other side, it's also massive swing game for Auburn, because maybe they're looking at John Summerall right now. But you know what could change? If DJ Durkin is carried off the field winning this game, getting Auburn to bowl eligibility, he could get this job. So that is something to look out for. So both Auburn, both Alabama have huge range of outcomes for the future or the present or immediate future or near future, I guess I should say, depending on the outcome of this game. Key number 2, the magic of Jordan-Hare. Weird things happen at Auburn Stadium in the last week of the college football season, and it could be for the good, it could be for the bad. We could get the kick 6. We all know how that went. Or we could get 4th and 31, Jalen Milroe saving the season, sending Alabama to the college football playoff, right? We've seen Alabama benefit. We've seen Auburn benefit. All we know is that something crazy can and likely will happen. The question is, who's it going to work out for on Saturday? And then finally, key number 3, that is the quarterback battle. Now, I don't do this often, but I think it's important to talk about because Ty Simpson had been so good for so long, and then against Oklahoma, he just really faltered. Meanwhile, for Auburn, we might get a little bit of Deuce Knight, true freshman action after he balled out against Mercer. Ashton Daniels sat out Mercer so that he could play this game and still preserve his red shirt. So Auburn's got to have something up their sleeve there. Both teams, I think, are going to need to get major, or I guess just to say great quarterback play, because for Alabama, you can't run the ball. You're not going to run the ball. It's all on Ty Simpson's shoulders, as it has been all year. Can he deliver? And from Auburn, you need this special type of performance, special plays at the quarterback position to elevate and pull off this major upset to, salvage your season, make the fan base, super happy. So who am I picking? Look, I already went out on a limb here and picked Michigan to beat Ohio State. I'm not going to do another crazy pick. Give me Alabama to win. I think it's 6.5 point spread. I think they win by at least a touchdown, like 31-24. The Tide advance to the SEC title, secure a place in the college football playoff, and end the season on a high note. And Kalen DeBoer, appeases fans for the time being. All right, this was a long one, but we gave out all 8 picks. To recap, we have Alabama over Auburn. We have Vanderbilt over Tennessee, A&M over Texas, Michigan over Ohio State, and then we have Georgia over Georgia Tech, Arizona over Arizona State, Miami over Pitt, and Oregon over Washington. That is 8 picks this weekend. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy Rivalry Weekend. I will not be doing a Thursday show, but we will do extra shorts this week to make up for it, so you can stay tuned to the channel, follow to see all of those. But enjoy the weekend, and until Sunday when I come on to react, I'll see you guys next time.